You guys, welcome back to Second Take. It's Vishwa here, and today we're going to be discussing a guy who many people have completely forgotten about for quite a few reasons, and that guy is Tristan Thompson, who recently joined the Boston Celtics on a 2-year, $19 million deal. Thompson was commonly known as the big man on the Cleveland Cavs that was a pretty significant part of multiple finals appearances led by LeBron James, as well as winning a ring with the team in 2016, commonly known as a series which saw the Cavs overcome a 3-1 deficit. I'll first be discussing Thompson's career and his skill set as a whole, then I'll explain briefly how the Celtics' previous seasons went and some of the flaws of the team, and finally I'll discuss the given title of why Tristan Thompson is the final piece of a potential finals run from the Celtics. I'll also provide some information of additional moves the Celtics made and once again how they can be primed for a finals run, especially in a more competitive Eastern Conference now. Before I get started on this video, I just wanted to give a quick note to everyone watching this video as well as whoever's been watching our videos in general. If you enjoy our videos, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, as only 0.9% of you guys watching our content are subbed. We'd really appreciate if you guys could hit that subscribe button as well as smash the like button. I promise you will not regret it. With that being said, let's get straight into the video. To begin with, let's take a trip back to Tristan Thompson's career coming out of high school and college. In his high school years at Findlay Prep, played either the 4 or the 5, but due to his strong and athletic physical profile who provided a lot of energy on both ends of the floor, he averaged a stellar 16 points, nearly 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks, primarily serving as a center. He also played football, proving him having an even more athletic ability, strength, aggressiveness, and overall poise. When taking a look at Thompson's skill set as a basketball player, he has such a high basketball IQ. He was a 5-star recruit that had unique traits that every team would love to have. According to Bleacher Report, he was playing like a seasoned veteran. For example, his smart decisions in the post, unlike a lot of big men who would turn the ball over easily to alleviate the pressure, his amazing poise, his smooth turnaround jumper, his quick first step to the basket, and above all, his defensive dominance in having his length and explosiveness help him block shots from the weak side as well as crash the boards on both ends of the floor. These traits of Thompson as both an athlete and a basketball player would translate very well to the college level at UT Austin, where he would average a solid 13 points, 8 rebounds, and a tremendous 2.4 blocks. He maintained a decent 54% from the field. He was also feasting in the pick and roll situations, which made the team really dominant. What really impressed scouts was his incredible work ethic and how he was able to compensate from being undersized at the 5 at 6'9". Like I said before, due to his athleticism, length, and strength, he was able to crash the boards over much taller centers. Thompson also put up 13 pounds of weight, knowing that he would be going up against taller centers and strength needed to propel him in these matchups. Unfortunately, the primary concern about his game when translating to the NBA was his inability to shoot the ball. Although he wouldn't need to be a great floor spacer as pick and pop and that type of guy, and that isn't really his role. The biggest flag for him was his 48% shooting from the free throw line, as his inability to consistently make his free throws would be a huge liability when he gets fouled in crucial situations like clutch moments. He would end up being drafted 4th overall in the 2011 draft by the Cleveland Cavs. Before the arrival of LeBron in 2014, he had to go through many losing seasons in his first few years with the team, having only about 20 to 30 wins in each of those years. This wasn't really a bad thing because the young team got to develop a lot of guys like Kyrie Irving, Dion Waiters, and the unfortunate bust Anthony Bennett. Thompson proved himself to be a really great guy, and he took this time to develop his game, and he averaged between 8 to 11 points in his first few years. He wasn't really used much offensively besides in the pick and roll situations and put back points, but he was a really efficient player who crashed the boards really well, averaging about 6 to 9 rebounds a game and protected the rim exceptionally well. However, it was during the LeBron era where Thompson's stats took a huge hit and he'd only average about 8 points, taking only 5 to 6 shots a game. However, in my opinion, this stat cannot decide his overall skill, as the scoring from him wasn't really needed as what he was asked to do, especially with a star-studded lineup of Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith to space the floor, LeBron, and Kevin Love. because he was surrounded by star players. He needed to make things easier for the Cavs by setting good screens, crashing the boards, being more efficient, providing stellar defense, and once LeBron and Kyrie left, Thompson did gain a bigger role, especially in the offensive end, and with the young guys like Colin Sexton, Chetty Osman, Darius Garland, Larry Nance, and others. His last 2 seasons would see him average a double-double, putting up 12 points, 10 boards, with 4 of them being offensive, taking 9 to 10 shots a game, and he overall just had a bigger role in the offensive end, thus creating a bigger impact. Now that we know how good of a player Tristan Thompson was and what the capabilities he has, I'll be discussing his fit with the Boston Celtics and how he can contribute to the new team. When taking a look at the Celtics past season, they were a huge success as they finished 4th in the East with an impressive 49-33 record. There are many reasons why this was the case. Firstly, it all starts with having a terrific coach, and the Celtics definitely had that with Brad Stevens. Stevens is one of the best coaches in the NBA, and he's proved to develop various young guys and make them better, like he did with Isaiah Thomas back then. Terry Rozier improved vastly and earned a lucrative deal with the Hornets last season, and their current guys Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and many others, which leads me to why the Celtics were able to be a pretty significant success last season. It all starts with their all-star Jason Tatum, who solidified himself as a future superstar with this all-around fluid game on both ends of the floor, primarily offensively. I won't go into depth with the specifics, but Tatum was able to be an excellent scorer, whether it was driving to the rack, in the post, mid-range, or 3-ball. This has thus led to ESPN ranking him at number 11 in their top 100 list. While I don't necessarily agree with that, it does show how highly regarded his talent is, and he has a lot of potential to be one of the greatest players in the game. Jaylen Brown also proved to be a terrific second option, as he has a very similar game to Jason Tatum and was an excellent two-way player in the process. Kemba Walker was solid, putting up 20 a game as an excellent third option for scoring, while also being a primary playmaker. Marcus Smart improved vastly, being a much better offensive weapon, and of course, as we all know, one of the best defenders in the NBA, receiving the All-Defensive Team honors. Although the loss of Gordon Hayward may have been a lot of talent being lost, this is not really a bad thing for the Celtics, mainly because Hayward's contract was just way too much, and even though he was producing solidly for the team with about 17 to 18 points a game, he isn't really needed, as Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown seem like more for the future of the team with their young talent and high potential. When discussing the primary flaws the Celtics had, the 2 biggest areas they had to address were their bench firepower and depth, and a better center. The bench was among the worst in the NBA, averaging only 26 points a game because there was simply no firepower coming off the bench. Although they had many decent role players like Grant Williams, Brad Wanamaker, Semi Ojeleye, Robert Williams, and others, no one could really create their own shot, which caused the Celtics to have either Tatum, Brown, Hayward, or Kemba in the game at all times. The front court was perhaps the biggest issue, as Daniel Theis wasn't necessarily the worst big man, but what he does is simply not enough for a team with contending aspirations. Theis averaged 9 points, about 7 boards, while shooting an efficient 60% from the field, but playing the 5 at 6'8" was really challenging for a guy who seems more like a stretch 4, and the Celtics don't really need shooting from the 5, but rather a big that can block shots, get boards, and finish around the rim. Enes Kanter is a decently skilled offensive player, but he was benched in many occasions because he was always a defensive liability. When you compare the Celtics to a team like the Lakers are much better, mainly because of their all-around team. Their bench is also really strong, so LeBron and AD don't always have to be on the floor. This is how the Celtics need to improve, and once again, Anthony Davis is the center for the Lakers, and the Celtics need a similar guy that doesn't really need to be that impressive, but can do their job really well. Tristan Thompson is the perfect guy for this spot. Here's why. As I said before, Thompson is exactly what the Celtics need at the 5. When taking a look at him in aspects besides his skill, he has championship experience with the Cavs and is a solid veteran for the young talent the team has. Though being undersized at the 5, he can complement the roster really well by being a great roller in the pick and roll situations by Kemba. He's also a solid screen setter. He can crash the boards very efficiently on back taps as well as put back shots. The Celtics get a mighty boost in second chance points and also vastly improve their defense in this process. If you take a look back at the playoffs for the Celtics last season, especially against the Miami Heat, current All-Star Bam Adebayo was able to feast on the weak front court Boston had. In this series, Bam had 4 games where he had 20 or more points and 10 or more boards, and he had 27 and 16 in Game 3 and 32 and 14 in Game 6. Thompson will definitely be able to lock up star big men in the league like Bam and Embiid to a pretty decent extent so that they don't have stats like these, and Marcus Smart will do his usual dirty work on the defensive end, while Kemba, Tatum, and Brown can provide the solid scoring punch offensively. As Thompson even stated, these guards attract so much attention in the offensive end. He also went on to explain how deadly he can be setting screens and rolling hard to the basket. As for what he believes in the defensive end, he brought back the time where the Cavs had LeBron, and during this era it ranked 4th in the defensive end, and he had a simple job, which was to bring the defensive intensity and give his opponent living hell on this end, as they had Kyrie and LeBron to manage the offensive end much more. He also described the similarity he has to Marcus Smart, who is one of the league's best defenders, as both of them could make the Celtics a much more complete team. The only downsides there may be for this acquisition is his injury history, as he did miss a lot of time during his last few years with the Cavs. However, if Thompson can stay healthy, this definitely makes the Celtics a pretty serious title contender. There are also some other problems Thompson might bring, such as this, and if he can stay focused on what's asked of him without these kind of distractions, once again, the organization can also value him much more. Finally, the Celtics made some other great moves this offseason. The Celtics may not have had the best offseason, as Celtics Wire graded their offseason a C+. This may be because of some losses they had in the offseason, like guys like Gordon Hayward, a terrific all-around player, and Brad Wanamaker, two-way guard with lots of potential. Other losses include trading Vincent Poirier and Enes Kanter, who aren't really necessary for the system the Celtics should be trying to establish. On the bright side, the Celtics made 2 terrific acquisitions, Aaron Nesmith from the draft and Jeff Teague. The Vanderbilt standout, Nesmith can come off the bench and shield the scoring load heavily, in addition to either of the big 3, Tatum, Brown, or Kemba being on the court with the second unit. He can play either the 2 or the 3, and he is regarded as the most elite shooter in this draft class. Nesmith took a huge jump, averaging 11 points to 23 his sophomore year and 5 rebounds. The biggest exclamation mark is no question, as he shot an unreal 52% from 3-point range this past season, showing another surge of improvement from 33% before. Nesmith definitely has a lot of all-star potential and strengthens the Celtics bench big time. Jeff Teague was also acquired in free agency for a cheap price at $2.5 million a year. Although Teague may be out of his prime years as he's 32 years old, he is still proven to be a solid contributor recently as a starter for the Timberwolves and coming off the bench for the Hawks. He's another veteran who can guide the young role players like Nesmith, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, and others down the bench like Taco Fall and Carson Edwards. He averaged about 13 points throughout his career and can earn big-time minutes, especially because of Kemba Walker's recent injury. Teague has always been a solid shooter, shot creator, and a great distributor. They were able to attain him at a reasonable price. The Celtics also acquired Peyton Pritchard with the 26th pick and continue to stack up in their backcourt depth. Pritchard was a stud in Oregon and can contribute in the third string if injuries like Kemba continue to pile up. And that's going to cap it off for today's video. In my opinion, a starting lineup of Kemba, Smart, Brown, Tatum, and Thompson with bench of Jeff Teague, Aaron Nesmith, Grant Williams, Daniel Dias, and Robert Williams, with others like Romeo Langford, Taco Fall, and Carson Edwards, coached by one of the best coaches in the league, is really complete and could be primed for a title run if they stay healthy. I could see the Celtics being a top 3 seed in the East, and they could construct a deep postseason run, perhaps ending up in the finals in a more competitive Eastern Conference. Comment down below how good Tristan Thompson make this team, and where the Celtics ranking this year. Also let us know other ideas you want us to post. If you enjoy this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel as we're dropping a lot of heat, especially with the new season starting, and we'll catch you guys next time, and peace.